Hey guys, just before the video starts, a quick reminder that due to the changes to the YouTube partnership program, your subscriptions are going to be even more important than before. So if you appreciate or like the content, please subscribe to the channel. The faster we hit the 1,000 subscribers, the faster I'll be able to deliver continuous content to you guys. So now, let's move on to the video.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Maple Syrup Tech. I'm Rick, and today I'm really glad to launch a new series, which is basically we're going to be testing most of the models of CPU coolers available from eBay. Because most people are wondering if these things are even worth the time. Most of them come from China, and basically the reason it took me a little while to set this up is number one, first thing you gotta know when you buy a cooler from China, it takes about 2 to 3 months to get to most of North America. I live in Canada. This CPU cooler actually took almost close to 3 months to get here. That was number one that sort of delayed these videos a little bit. Number two is to properly do these reviews, I needed a little bit of extra equipment which I purchased for the channel, which is an electronic caliper and electronic scale, because unlike most manufacturers that here in North America, where you can find pretty much the specs of the weight, the size exactly of the cooler on websites and whatnot, or in the documentation for these eBay coolers, well, I pretty much had to calculate all those things myself. But today we'll see if you can actually save some money by buying coolers on eBay and if they're actually worth buying at all. And we're starting with really the cheapest of the whole gang. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to probably murder this name, but it's the Wanjiafeng eBay cooler. I'm going to dub this the $10 eBay cooler, because basically normally you're going to pay this between, I'd say, $8 and $12 US for this cooler here, shipped to your door. And we're going to go see if it's any good at all. So let's start with, as usual, a quick description of the specs of the cooler. So the Wanjiafeng, or newly dubbed $10 eBay CPU cooler, comes with a standard tower style cooler design. It's equipped with two 6mm copper heat pipes, and it has a 92mm circular LED fan actually included. The weight of the cooler is 158 grams, making it one of the lightest coolers I've ever seen. The height of the cooler stands at 123 millimeters high, by a width of 92 millimeters because of its fan, and a depth of only 60 millimeters. Theoretically, this cooler is compatible with all modern sockets. And by the way, the CPU fan is not PWM compatible. It is a 3-pin design. So now that we have the description of the cooler done, let's jump into right away the results. Now that we have an idea on the specs of the cooler, let's take a look at the results. And just so we can understand the results, let's go over my methodology really quick. So number one, all my coolers are tested on my Ryzen 3 test bench system, which is a Ryzen 3 1200 overclocked to 3.9 gigahertz using 1.3 volts. I also lock the fans at 100%, so the coolers are running as strong as they can. This is really a max performance, max noise test. And for all the sound results, I place a digital sound meter about 2 feet away from the top of the motherboard. And basically we test what the maximum noise is over a 30-second period. Now this simulates someone gaming with a PC on their desk, like a few feet away from their head, which is sort of a worst case scenario. It's also important to note that for the temperature results, they are in delta temperatures, meaning temperatures above ambient. So if there's a result, for example, of 30 degrees Celsius, and my room is generally between 23 to 25 degrees Celsius, that probably means that in the real world, the cooler is somewhere around 55 degrees. Okay, and now that we have the methodology out of the way, without further ado, let's jump into the results. So first, we're going to look at the temperature results. And honestly, I wasn't surprised. The eBay $10 cooler was 39 degrees Celsius delta temperature, making it one of the worst coolers we've ever tested here so far on the channel. So, there's not much more to say about that. It's just temperature-wise, not necessarily a good performer. Now, if we move over to the noise charts, surprisingly enough, noise charts, it was actually a decent noise emission cooler. It was only at 40 decibels, putting it in the first half of the chart, meaning that it's one of the quieter coolers available. Now we're going to go over to the conclusion because, I mean, there's not much more to say about those results. They're pretty clean cut. The other reason also I sort of invest in these new tools, it's because they're going to help us sometimes be able to realize why a cooler is underperforming, why one cooler performs more or less than the other. Is it the diameter of the heat pipes that makes a difference? Is it the weight of the cooler and whatnot? So, in the conclusion, what can I say about this cooler? Now, number one, let's just compare it really quickly to two other coolers that are in almost the same price bracket, because this is 10 to 12 bucks. You can pick up a Deepcool Ice Edge Mini generally between $8 and $12 as well, or even a Gamex 200 between $10 and $15, depending on sales, depending on price. And if you look at the Ice Edge Mini, it weighs 179 grams, which is actually 13% more than this cooler. And if you look at the Gamex 200, it actually weighs 214 grams, maybe 35%, heavier than this cooler. And honestly, you can see right away in the results that both of those coolers really trashed this one. It's really underperforming because, number one, the heatsink is really, really weak. And number two, the fan, it's not noisy, but that's just because it's not pushing any air. Like honestly, if you put your hand behind this cooler while it's running, you're not even sure there's a fan running on the other side of it, unfortunately. And to test out that theory, I actually took the Ice Edge Mini fan, which is a 80 millimeter fan, stuck it directly on this cooler, and automatically the temperature results lowered by about 2 to 3 degrees. So I'll bring it pretty close to the actual results on the Ice Edge Mini, which was a 35 degrees delta temperature. So overall, is this cooler worth it? Unfortunately, it's a resounding no. Honestly, for $10 to $12 to $15, there is so many options out there that are better than this one that I cannot see why anyone would want to order this cooler off of eBay. Number one, you have to wait to 2 to 3 months. And as you can see on the screen now, there is also a recurring thing that happened on all the coolers. I don't know if it's in China. I don't know if it's the overseas process of delivering it, or if it's here in Canada. But each and every cooler I got so far has been pretty severely damaged, with the heat sinks being banged up. It's not enough to affect the results in any way, in my opinion, of the tests, but it's just aesthetically the coolers are pretty banged up by the time they get here, which is just unfortunate. And why wouldn't you just go pick up a nice clean cooler for $10 to $15 at a local computer store, or even from Newegg or anything, and not have any damage on your coolers? Like you can see it on the box itself. Like it's pretty trashed. Like the coolers get to you and they're smashed. They're not packaged well. Unfortunately, for the first eBay cooler we tested, which is the $10 eBay cooler, the Wanjiafeng, sorry for murdering that once again, the results show a resounding no. This is not a cooler that you should buy. It's not worth your time. The Ryzen Stealth almost performs as well as it. And like I said, there's a plethora of better coolers out there. Just look at any of the reviews on my channel of either the Ice Edge Mini, the Ice Blade 100 from Deepcool, the Gamex 200. These are all coolers that are within $2 to $3, either the same price or within $2 to $3 of this one, and will outperform this cooler by leaps and bounds. Especially the Gamex 200 at 31 degrees delta temperature, you're almost 8 to 9 degrees lower than this one. Forget about it, you're way better off with that cooler. So I hope you guys like this first entry into my eBay cooler series. We're going to come back with at least 2 more coolers in the next couple of weeks, so keep tuned to the channel for those videos. If you like them, if there's any coolers you've seen on eBay that you would like me to test out, you can leave me links in the comments down below, and if I can get a hold of them, if the price fits with the budget and all that, it's not a problem. I'll try and get it done. So I hope you guys liked the video, and I hope to see you guys in my next one.